After a while, Mike, we just wouldn't let him back in the shelter anymore. They'd come in and leave and come in and leave and come in and leave. And finally, we just say, you can't come in anymore.
The following program contains scenes and language of a frank and explicit nature. Viewer discretion is advised.
In 5, 4, 3, 2,
18.
Live
18.
now.
I don't know, Mike. I don't know what you're talking about. Hey, everybody. He's a macho savage. You're listening to Mike Trash, TrashTalkingRadio.com. The best in the business. Say it, the macho.
Wrestling fans throughout radio land, listen to Trash Talking Radio at TrashTalkingRadio.com. Every Tuesday from 7 to 10 o'clock, you hear guys like myself, the youth Ganon Giant Kamala. My story.
You can hear words to describe the Trash Talking Radio Show from 7 to whenever we get done is by using a screwdriver to cut roast beef. This is Sluneva Sean, the other half of the Rock and Wrestling Connection. That's the trashy one and the loony one together forever.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Ivan Koloff. I'm here to tell you about Mike Talking Trash. With the Trash, 7 to 10. Tuesday nights, you got to listen in. It's the best around, the best in town. Alright, hey, this is the Animal. One half of the world famous Take in the Road Warriors. Listen to them. If you know what's good for you, listen to Trash Talking Radio or else.
Everybody, you're watching Trash Talking Radio. This is Hulk Hogan. Hulk, what do you got to say about Trash Talking Radio?
Well, I gotta say that I just bought Trash Talking Radio. You're out of the picture, dude. This is my show, and you better watch because what you gonna do when Hulk Hogan's brand new Trash Talking Radio runs wild on you?
This is the Vital Idol, and you're listening to Trash Talking Radio every Tuesday from 7 to 10 on TrashTalkingRadio.com. And remember this. When the Vital Idol tells you, it's got to be true. And when it's on the internet, it's got to be real. It's Trash Talking Radio every Tuesday from 7 to 10. I am the top of pop, the king of swing, the international rock star way above par, the host with the most, Mr. Tuesday Night, the Vital Idol, Classy Mike Trash, and thank you very much.
It is Trash Talking Radio. It is Tuesday night. It is the best night of the week. And I should be here with Doug. All right, we're there. We're on the air. We're actually here.
We're on the air.
As bad as last week. Last week I was having all kinds of problems getting it to load because they keep changing things on Facebook. And then I try to do what I have to do to make it work, and it doesn't seem to cooperate. So it worked today, and I didn't have to do anything special, so that's kind of fun. How you doing, Doug?
I am doing fine. I'm doing fine.
How's the Midwest? You're considered the Midwest, I guess. How's the Midwest?
Yes.
That used to be
Midwest is hot and humid.
It is very hot today. It's in the 90s today, and fortunately I have central air, and I turned it on. So
yes.
One thing in my life I can turn on sometimes. Sometimes it works, though. Sometimes it don't work. But it's good to be. Actually, the studio's always cold, so I like that. So we had all kinds of fun stuff to talk about today. We got some interesting. a poll that was taken that we're going to refute. That we are going to talk about some. What are we going? I don't even know what I put on there. Yeah, we're going to talk about all kinds of stuff. I'm going to talk about. Gypsy Rose. Do you know who Gypsy Rose is?
She escapes me at the moment.
We're going to talk about her. You'll kind of remember her, I think, when we talk about her. We'll talk about the upcoming debates. Talk about most influential rock bands. Well, welcome back, Cotter. We're going to talk about him. How about that? Probably haven't heard that name for a long time.
That's a blast from the past.
We're going to, and it's funny because I didn't even know he was still alive. Fortunately, he is. Going to talk about a little Father's Day stuff that I picked up along the way because it was just Father's Day.
Yeah, yesterday.
Neither of us have had one for a while. Actually, you lost your dad before I lost my dad. So
yeah,
I remember that because I was one of the first funerals that. Well, one of the first funerals that kind of hit me weird because I was thinking about what would happen if my dad died, and then my dad died. So we found out real soon. What year did he die?
Real soon.
What year did he die? I want to say it was
80. Is it 80 or 81?
Okay, yeah, it was right.
81.
Because Riley died in 81. That threw me for a loop because it was in 3 years I lost 6 people that I knew. And that was really because Riley was one of the first. My grandfather, my father, your father. There were 2 other. Oh, my business partner, and there was one other one. I forget who the other person was off the top of my head, but yeah, I lost a lot of people in a short period of time. That was, and that's the way it happens to me. It happens in threes for me, and that's kind of weird. And usually there's a dog involved. My last 2 had a dog involved. The dog started the whole thing. And then the dog, and then there was somebody that I cared about, but wasn't a giant like my brother. My older brother was not someone that I was attached to. And then the third one was like the big one. So the third one is the one that I'm afraid of. The first 2 don't scare me as much, although the dog was the one that was the worst one the last time, although Ken was pretty bad. So I'm hoping I'm done for a while. So, anyway, all right, let's get things rolling here. Let's see, where should we start? I guess let's start with let's start with Gypsy Rose because I've had this for a couple weeks. I was waiting for you to come back, and then we had whatever we did that I forgot that I needed. I was trying to get both of you here at the same time. I was trying to get Ashley and you here at the same time. I'm thinking that's not going to happen anymore. I'm thinking you don't like her, she doesn't like you, and just you guys are talking like, okay, you come on this time, then you come on this time. Man. But anyway, Gypsy Rose has a very strange story, and she considers herself a survivor, not a celebrity. And she's truly not a celebrity, by the way. So it says here, Gypsy Rose Blanchard, she was I think she was in jail, if I'm not mistaken, has been enjoying newfound fame since her prison release. Now, this is really bizarre to me, but we're going to talk about, she says she's not a celebrity, she's a survivor. People are considering her a celebrity. I don't consider someone that kills somebody a celebrity, but some people think she's a celebrity. So, the story on her, I think I have her Wikipedia here somewhere. I think she killed her mother. Is that what it was? I don't remember. Hold on. Gypsy Rose Alicia Blanchard. Her legal name is Gypsy Rose Alicia Blanchard Anderson. Where is it? She went to she was convicted of. This is such a weird story. She was convicted of second-degree murder for the death of her mother, Dee Dee Blanchard. Now, Dee Dee Blanchard was a really weird person. Dee Dee Blanchard used her to get things. And so it says she was paroled after 8 years at the end of 2023, given the sensational aspects of her childhood, including her mother forcing her to pretend to be disabled and terminally ill. She gained widespread media attention. Hulu has a limited series called The Act. Came out in 2019, released while she was still in prison. And she had her own reality show in 2024 called Gypsy Rose Life After Lockup on Lifetime. She was born in 91 to 24-year-old Claudine D.D. Blanchard and 18-year-old Rod Blanchard. Her mother's first began asserting that Gypsy Rose had an array of different health issues from infancy. Her mother told her that she had muscular dystrophy and needed a walker. This is so weird to me that anybody would do this, but to tell your kid that that you have muscular dystrophy and that you needed a walker. So anyway, she was it says here she was around 7 or 8 years old. She was involved in a minor motorcycle accident with her grandfather, in which she obtained a minor knee abrasion. After this, Dee Dee told her that she needed a wheelchair. After Hurricane Katrina destroyed their Louisiana home, Dee Dee and Gypsy Rose lived in a rented home in Aurora. And during their time there, Gypsy Rose was honored by the Olay Foundation, which advocates the rights of feeding tube recipients. It's 2007 Child of the Year. The whole time Gypsy Rose didn't need the feeding tube, and she knew she could walk, but continued the charade throughout because of fear of her mother. In 2008, Habitat for Humanity built him a small home with a wheelchair ramp. Now this is like a movie of the week. This is like something I wouldn't ever have expected to be real. They built her a small home with a wheelchair ramp and a hot tub as part of a larger project on the north side of Springfield. The story of a single mother with severely disabled daughter forced to flee Katrina received considerable local media attention. So have you heard of her before? Is this ringing any bells? I didn't.
Yeah.
I didn't know who she was. Anyway, so you had this little girl pretending to be injured or pretending to have this illness, and many people who met Gypsy Rose were charmed by her. She was 4'11", so nearly toothless, large glasses, and high childlike voice reinforced by the perception that she had all the problems that her mother claimed that she had. Dee Dee regularly shaved Gypsy Rose's head to mimic the hairless appearance of chemotherapy, and allegedly telling her that her medication would eventually cause her hair to fall out, and it was best to shave it in advance. Gypsy Rose wore wigs and hats to cover her baldness. When they left the house, Dee Dee often took an oxygen tank and a feeding tube with them. Now this is a Mother of the Year here. So she grew dependent upon her mother because of all the things that her mother did. And she wasn't in school, so she wasn't learning anything. And later on, let's see here, Dee Dee also claimed that the original birth certificate was destroyed during a post-Katrina flood, and Dee Dee kept another copy of Gypsy's true birth date. Gypsy recalls it during one of the hospital visits and becoming confused because Dee Dee told her it was a misprint. Gypsy Rose attended science fiction and fantasy conventions, sometimes in costumes, so she could blend in with the diverse and inclusive communities in a wheelchair. In 2011, what may have been the escape attempt that ended when her mother found her in a hotel room with a man she met online. Again, Dee Dee produced the paperwork giving Gypsy Rose's false younger birth date and threatened to inform the police. Gypsy Rose claims that afterwards, Dee Dee smashed her computer with a hammer and threatened to do the same to her fingers if she ever sneaked out again. Talk about controlling your kid. But
this is abuse, Michael. This is abuse.
But it got worse. believe it or not, it got worse. Sometime around 2012, Gypsy Rose, who continued to use the internet and phone freely, made contact with Nicholas Godejohn, a man around her age from Wisconsin, whom she had met in a Christian singles website. In 2014, Gypsy Rose confided to the 23-year-old neighbor Aaliyah Woodmansee, who, unaware of Gypsy Rose was closer to her age, considered herself a big sister. And she and Godejohn had discussed eloping and even chosen names for potential children. Gypsy Rose, who had 5 separate Facebook accounts, and Godejohn, who flirted online, their exchanges sometimes using BDSM elements, which she has been taken advantage by a sexual predator. That's what they felt, because she was so young that she was being, but she wasn't really that young. So anyway, what happened was she ended up killing her mother, because her mother was, trying to run her life. It says here, the next year, Gypsy Rose arranged and paid Godejohn to travel to Springfield. She planned to pretend to meet Godejohn for the first time at a movie theater with her mother, then appear to strike up a relationship based on the supposed chance encounter. When they did meet in person, Godejohn says Gypsy Rose led him to the bathroom where the two had sex. The two continued their internet interactions and began developing a plan to kill Dee Dee. Godejohn returned to Springfield in 2015, arriving while Gypsy Rose and her mother were away at a doctor's appointment. And after they had returned home and Dee Dee had gone to sleep, he went to the Blanchard house. Gypsy Rose let him in, and he allegedly gave him duct tapes, gloves, and a knife with the understanding he would use it to kill Dee Dee. She hid in the bathroom, covered her ears so that she would not have to hear her mother screaming. Godejohn then stabbed Dee Dee 17 times in the back while she was asleep. Afterwards, the two had sex in Gypsy's room and stole more than $4,400 in cash that Dee Dee had been keeping in the house, mostly from child support checks. They fled to a motel outside Springfield where they stayed for a couple days while planning their next move. During that time, they were seen on security cameras in several stores. Gypsy Rose said at that point she believed that the two had gotten away with the crime. They mailed the murder weapon to Godejohn's home in Wisconsin to avoid being caught, then took a bus, and several witnesses who saw the pair on their way to the Greyhound station said that Gypsy wore a blonde wig and walked unassisted. So anyway, through the different investigators, they found obviously the mother and all that stuff, and says Dee Dee's friends, the Blanchards' friends, suspected something was wrong. When the phone calls went unanswered, several neighbors and friends went to the house. When the friends and neighbors knew that the two often left on medical trips unannounced, they saw Dee Dee's modified car still in the driveway, making an unannounced trip as unlikely. Protective film on the windows made it hard to see inside the low light. No one answered the door, so the friends gathered and called 911. When the police arrived, they got their search warrant, allowed one of the neighbors to climb in through a window, and inside the house it was undisturbed, and Gypsy Rose's wheelchairs were present. When the warrant was issued, during the police entrance, they found Dee Dee's body, and neighbors were concerned about how Gypsy would do without her wheelchair. Medications.
Quite well.
Yes, medications and support equipment such as oxygen tanks and feeding tube. Friends set up a GoFundMe account that was set up to pay Dee Dee's funeral expenses and possibly Gypsy Rose's. So, yeah, that's kind of weird. And they ended up, based on the information that they found on Facebook, to trace the IP address from where the post to Dee Dee's accounts had been made. It turned out to be Wisconsin. The next day, police agencies raided Godejohn's Bend home. Godejohn and Gypsy Rose surrendered and were taken into custody on charges of murder. The news that Gypsy Rose was safe was greeted with relief. And when she and Godejohn were extradited and held on $1 million bond, the sheriff warned things are not always as they appear. The media soon reported the truth on the Blanchard's lives, and Gypsy Rose has never been sick and has never been unable to walk, but her mother had made the pretense otherwise using physical abuse, and Gypsy Rose pleaded guilty to second-degree murder and was sentenced to 10 years. Godejohn was found guilty in first-degree murder and sentenced to life in prison without parole, an additional 25 years without or for armed criminal action. You know, I don't care who you are. I'm not killing somebody for you. Could you imagine? He was dragged into this thing, and he thought he was doing the right thing. And, you know, I just can't imagine, oh, kill my mom. She's really abusive. Yeah. No, that's not going to happen. So, it's just weird. But while she was in prison, she met a man named Ken Urker, who she met through a pen pal program, and subsequently she was, I guess, engaged to him, and then she ended that relationship, and in 2022 she married a Louisiana teacher, Brian Anderson, in the prison ceremony. I would not marry a woman that had that kind of track record. Jeez. There's some guys out there must be very desperate. So, I don't know.
Any woman is better than no woman. No woman.
No. The more I think about this, and the more, it's just so bizarre. It sounds like a strange movie somebody would have made, but it was a real thing. And this woman, she got away with murder. She only spent a little time in jail for that, and it's a shame that it had to happen that way. I mean, I guess in essence, I don't know how I would have gotten out of that, being that girl. And it's really weird to think that she had to go that far to get out of this situation. But clearly, there should have been something. I mean, counseling or something. I'm sure they did something in jail. They probably counseled her. But how could you have a regular life after that? I don't know.
I don't know, Mike. People do strange things.
Yeah. Yeah, that's...
She probably justified the murder.
I guess. I mean, when you think about the lengths her mother went to make her feel like that. She didn't know she was necessarily doing anything wrong, but she had to, I mean, I don't know. When I read this, I was like, wow, who's this person? And I started reading, and more I read into it, the more I thought, that's really bizarre. And she had this reality, it was Gypsy Rose Life After Lockup. She had a reality TV series. So she was on The Kardashians. She was on a documentary, The Prison Confessions of Gypsy Rose. I just think it's the strangest thing that this even happened. And I can't say that her mother deserves something, but I don't know if death was what she deserved. But it's cheaper than having to house her for the rest of her life. I don't know. I just thought it was a weird thing, and I wanted to wait till you were back on and talk about it, because I didn't know if you knew who she was or not, but this was all new to me. But it's just weird to think about what she's been through, and how would you have handled something if that... I mean, that wouldn't have happened to you or me, I don't think, because we got a brain of some sort, and we would have figured our ways out of it, but boy, that's just really strange to think about.
All she had to do is get in front of the camera, stand up, and walk.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that would have blown the whole thing.
Yeah. I really can't imagine. But, back when I was younger, I had a loyalty to my family that wasn't warranted. I remember when I was, I don't know, probably about 12, and we lived in that house that was 4 rooms. And I remember a social worker coming there to save me. I didn't think I needed saved, you know. I thought, we're doing just fine. We don't need your help. And if, you know, and I thought I was doing the right thing. And I may have been doing the right thing, or maybe not. I don't know. My life would have been a lot different if I was cast into that system. But I think I did okay. I think the rest of my family did okay. I mean, of the 4 of us, I did better than the other 3. But that's not to say that, I mean, Dale was self-employed, and he did okay. My sister did okay. My little brother, he's doing okay. You know, none of us had any issues that we ended up doing any major crimes. So I guess that's the best anyone can ask for. So I don't know. Just kind of weird when I think about it. But I thought that was a really, really, and to think of her as a celebrity, I don't know that I would think of her as a celebrity. I would say that maybe she had a lot of trauma. She had a lot of trauma because she had some strange things going on there. But that was the opening story that I thought that would be interesting. So, what do you think?
Well, I don't know what prison she was in, but a good prison would have treatment for her.
Okay.
A good prison would have counselors.
Yeah.
But just think, Mike, you probably have one counselor for, 300, 500 inmates. So I don't know how much time she got to spend in counseling.
That makes sense. I mean, you think, depending on how big the prison is, how many people are in there, how many people are working there.
How many?
Yeah.
And how committed they are to treatment. When I was in prison, working in a prison, they were very committed to treatment.
Okay.
And they had a large treatment staff. But that isn't always the case.
Yeah.
Each state is different. They'll spend funds for different things.
Yeah.
We happen to be in a county that spent money on treatment.
Yeah.
And our goal was to stop recidivism. Give them tools and skills that they don't have to resort to crime and get back in. The failure rate is pretty high.
Okay.
But you can save some, and they never return to prison, and they have a successful life. It's not a lot, but
Interesting. I never really thought about that aspect because I've never been to prison, so that's not the first thing I would think of. But yeah, that's a good point. Well, next story is Stevie Nicks has canceled her show in Hershey. I don't know if there's any others that she's canceled, but she has canceled her Hershey show. There's a woman I wouldn't mind seeing in concert. I think that would be interesting. But she's up there in her 70s now, I would think. It says here,
have to be.
Due to illness. I hope that's not anything serious, but they did some major...
Write her down.
What's that?
Put her in your list, Mike, right away.
Yeah, I might. It says here, Stevie Nicks was supposed to perform at Hershey Park Stadium Saturday, but that performance was postponed due to an illness, and I don't know what the illness was, but that makes me kind of sad because I think that she is one of the we're going to talk about influential. She's probably one of the most influential women out there as far as rockers go. So,
and her voice is enchanting.
Yes, it's an interesting voice too because it's not. It's enchanting. I guess that's a good way to. That's a very good way to put it. She is very much a unique vocalist, and I like her. I like a lot of her songs. I actually was given a chance to sing the one she did with Tom Petty. Stop Dragging My Heart Around. I was going to do that in one of the bands I was in, and it was just never got around to doing it because I left the band before they ended up doing it. But that would have been fun to sing. So I don't know. I think she's definitely one of the women that stood the test of time. Her, Joan Jett, Benatar, they've all really done a great job of with their craft and staying relevant. So I think of all time, those would be the three that I would say were three of my favorites. So and the Pretenders, Chrissie Hynde, her too.
Yeah,
I liked her stuff too. So
I forget. I forget what Wilson. It's Wilson, right? From Heart.
Yeah.
The
Wilson,
two sisters.
Yes, Anne and Nancy.
Yeah. Which one sang?
Anne.
Anne.
Wait.
The guitarist was Nancy.
I'm gonna have to look. I don't know. Because now I'm questioning myself. I thought about there was one, but it might be the other one. Okay. Who are the Heart? Let's find out. It is Ann Wilson. Yeah, I thought it was Ann. So Nancy Wilson is also. She's also listed as one of the singers, but she's not the singer. So
yeah, she's the guitarist.
Yeah, I'll tell you what.
Well, I think she was influential too.
Yes, and did you ever
as a
hear
lead singer?
Her version of Led Zeppelin? Been a long time since I rock and roll? Which one was it? They did some Led Zeppelin stuff. It was really good. I loved that stuff. So, yeah, I mean, they can hit those stupid notes, though. He can't even hit those notes.
Yeah.
I can't hit those notes. He can't hit those notes. I've been doing a lot of listening on YouTube to some of the songs of my childhood, trying to decide what new ones we can do in the band. And when I listen to Robert Plant do live stuff, it's a lot different from when he does the studio stuff. He does not try to do those high notes, and it's interesting to listen to him do his own songs. So it's I love the stuff he does, but he can't even sing it. So I feel better. Next topic I want to talk about is the debates.
The debates, the two of them, yes.
They're gonna silence their mics between.
Yes.
That's probably the only way that they're gonna shut up Trump.
It's the only way.
And I don't know. I'm intrigued. I don't want either of them, but I'm intrigued.
Well, this is a chance for Biden to put to rest that he's an old codger that is diminishing his memory is diminishing. This is his shot to put that to rest if he does a good performance.
I'm going to be watching.
Because he doesn't have note cards. He's not allowed note cards, and that's how he does his everything. And he got mad. He got mad at a reporter the other day because the reporter asked a question off script.
Ooh, that could be an issue.
So it depends how he does. If he comes out there and is lost or misspeaks more than once or twice,
who's to say they're not going to put an ear thing though?
Well, I don't trust the media, so I'm a little conspiracy-minded when it comes to the media. I don't trust them, so that could be true. I don't trust any of the media.
Yeah, I don't either.
But
I don't trust either side.
Either side.
Either side. And
so they could have an earpiece in.
And then, of course, the other interesting thing is that Robert Kennedy is now an independent.
is not in.
He's an independent, but he has 15% of.
He needs 20.
Oh, is it 20?
It's 20 is the threshold.
Okay, I think he was. They were saying he was close to getting to. He has some kind of. I don't know. I don't know that he's going. I don't know that I would want him either because I don't trust the Kennedy. Any Kennedy, just don't trust the Kennedy. So, I don't know. I don't.
Well,
trust anybody.
he also has to be on the path for 270 electoral college people. He has to be on that path,
Right.
and he's far behind that path.
The problem is, once again, it's not who's most qualified. It's a popularity contest.
It's a popularity
And,
contest.
I don't know if he's any more qualified, but he doesn't. He scares me more. He scares me as much as the others. So I don't know. I just don't know. In the perfect world, we'd have someone running that isn't going to scare us, and I think either way, we're not winning. We're not going to win either way. We're going to lose. And the thing is, which way do we want to lose? And I don't know the answer to that. I just know that it scares me a bit that that's what we have to look forward to. Is that, right now, do we get? Either one is. I just think either one is bad news.
Well, they're bad for the country in different ways.
Yes, that's a good way of putting it. Very much. So.
I mean, we don't win. We don't really win because they're so unpopular to the other side. The other side will just sue them to keep them in court. Everything they try to do, they'll take to court. They'll block them in the Senate. They'll do. It'll just be stalemate for 4 years.
And that's what happened with last time that Trump won. That they didn't let him do anything. They kept throwing things in his way. He still accomplished things, but I think it would have been a lot better if they just left him do his work. And with Biden, I mean, the Democrats are such babies that they just found any incident and made a big deal out of it. And
the riots will be back.
What's that?
The riots will be back if Trump wins.
We're not winning either way. That's the sad part is that we're not. Neither one of those is going to be a winning situation.
Patty and I are down to the opinion we're going to have to hold our nose and vote for one of them.
See, I don't even know. I don't know. Of the two, who's going to do the worst damage? I mean, we're in the worst inflation we've been in ever.
And we had a good economy under Trump.
And that's the only thing that makes me interested in Trump is that he did what he said he would do.
And the world had respect for America under Trump,
and
militarily.
And he did, but he said, "I'm going to do this," and then he would do this, and so I just.
But all the baggage he brings, the insults, the way he presents himself, the way he talks, it's insulting, and I really have a problem with that.
Me too.
So I'm going to have to hold my nose and vote, Mike, and I know which way I'm going to go, but it's holding my nose.
Yeah. I don't know. I just don't know.
Well, I've made a decision. The debate, I'm interested in the debates to see how my decision stands.
I want to see the debate, too. I think that, I don't know if it'll sway me, but I got to see the debate. I just, I want to see what transpires. Maybe they'll.
The other option is don't vote.
I know.
Or write in a candidate.
Yeah.
Not good options, Mike. They're not good options.
And I got another thing here on. Let me see where it is. I had another. Is it there? Oh, here's the real. I have another candidate that will win, and everyone will love him. It's not opening. There we go. Okay. Whew. He was going to blow. That would have blown my whole thing if he didn't show up. Hulk Hogan teases a run for president. I know right from wrong, brother. That's what he says. Could you imagine? I mean, I could understand The Rock as president. I actually could, because The Rock actually is intelligent and isn't full of himself. When it comes right down to it, when you're talking to Dwayne Johnson, he will actually speak like a real person. When you talk to Hulk Hogan, everything's brother. It says Hulk Hogan says he will rule with an iron fist if he became president. WWE Hall of Famer Hulk teased running for president during an appearance of Fox and Friends when he was asked if he would potentially consider running for president. Well, you know something. We need somebody in that's got some common sense. You know what I'm saying, Hogan said. So if you want a president or a vice president, I'll volunteer and take this country over. I'll rule it with an iron fist, a flat tax, nothing but common sense. I know right from wrong, brother.
Yeah. Get him on stage at the debate. Let's see how that
I'll
rolls.
tell you what, Jesse Ventura was a good senator, or what was he? He was a governor.
Governor. He was governor. Minnesota.
People loved him, and I didn't think he would do it, but he actually did well with being governor. So I don't want to write off anybody.
It's popularity and name recognition. The Rock would gather many, many people.
Yeah, he would.
If he ran,
I guarantee you, he would beat both of those, just because it's a popularity contest. And who's more popular than him right now?
Nobody.
If you named one person who has if you were running a popularity contest, he would be the guy. He's taken over Hollywood. He's the highest paid guy in Hollywood. You know, I saw him on wrestling, and he's still so big. He's bigger than the wrestlers. He's freaking huge.
And he's kept cut all these years.
Well, yeah, I wonder if it's, through,
Well, yeah.
But
you always suspect that with these guys.
I was that close to interviewing him. Back before he was anything. He was training in the Samoan camp in Allentown, and I was trying to get him on my show. And they offered me this guy named Dave Bautista, and I thought, I don't want Bautista. Give me The Rock. I know, or not The Rock at that point. Give me Dwayne Johnson, because he hadn't hit it on the WWE yet. And I thought, I want him. I'm going to try to get him, and I really pushed. I pushed to get him, and I thought for sure I had him. But they offered me Bautista. I said, who's he? he's now a big star too. He's now a big movie star.
Yeah.
Damn it. Sometimes you'd second guess yourself, and that was one of the times I did it wrong. So, I don't know. But hey, I'd vote for Hogan. I think he can't do any worse than, well, maybe he could. Yeah, he probably would do worse, because Hogan doesn't know what he's talking about anyway. So I just thought
Hogan has been hit in the head too many times.
He's had some serious health problems too.
Yes.
He had back surgery I don't know how many times, and he's got hip problems. He's got all kinds of problems. I had him on the show twice, and actually he turned out to be an okay guy. I didn't like him before he was on my show, but he actually talked to me not as a character, talked to me as a person, and I liked that. So I got a new respect for him. Also, if you know, I don't know if you know this or not, but Glenn Jacobs, who was Kane in WWE, he was the mayor of Tennessee, I think. And he did really well too. So some of the guys actually do have common sense. And actually, he played a weird character in wrestling, and he did really well in wrestling. But he actually cared about his area that he lived in, and decided to run for governor. So that's kind of cool too. Or mayor, I think it was. I'm pretty sure it was mayor. or maybe I don't know, but yeah, it's just funny. And then there was, let's see what else I got here. Hogan, and then there was another. Where's it at? There's some. When is the debate anyway?
27th of this month. It's a freshman.
Okay, so next week sometime.
I could be wrong on if it's 26 or 27, but I think it's the 27th of June.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't remember. I did remember there was something going. I just didn't remember when it was. Let me put this on my Facebook so that people can see this, because everyone's going to want to vote for Hogan. As long as I don't get too deep into the stuff. Okay. Come on. Let me post that. Paste. There we go. Okay. And then, boom. Okay. Put this over here too. All right. Where's the other one? Trump. Oh, okay. Yeah, this one was interesting too. Well, there was actually two. The data. Okay. Yeah, this was a CNN thing. It's talking about Trump leading. Let's see if we can get this up here. See if I can get the volume working and see if I'll get in trouble. Oh, by the way, last week they gave me a hard time over AGT because I played the clip. There was an AGT clip. So I had 4 emails from them. First one was filing a copyright claim. Second one was clearing me of the copyright claim. Third one was filing a copyright claim. The fourth one was clearing me of the copyright. That's like, okay, make up your mind. Which one do you want? You know, those guys.
I'm amazed. Well, how's this work? Does somebody actually watch a show, or is it a computer looking for keywords?
No, I think it's a computer looking for keywords because they cleared me of all charges, but YouTube didn't. So I had to take it off the YouTube clip. But the Facebook cleared me of it because they asked NBC, and NBC said it's okay. And for me to get it through YouTube, I'd have to file a grievance or whatever, and then they'd have to clear me of it. So this is an interesting thing that black voters, Biden versus Trump. Originally in 2020, 86% of the people voted for Trump. 7% voted for Trump, 86% for Biden. 2024, it's now looking like 70% for Biden, 21% for Trump. That's a big.
He's gaining.
That's a big.
And he's gaining in black men.
Yeah.
He's gaining in black men because I really don't know why, but it is the economy, and some black males are tired of the Democratic Party assuming that they're just going to vote Democratic every year,
right,
taking them for granted.
Yeah, I saw that and I thought, well, that's kind of interesting because
law and order is another factor. Under Biden, the cities have gone, the big cities have gone to pot violence-wise.
Yeah.
So, you know, there are some factors, and Hispanics are trending more and more to Trump, too.
That's weird. And to think that he made...
Immigration, most Hispanics in this country that are here legally don't like illegal immigration.
That's interesting. I found that this I don't know if you can hear this clip or not, but this clip, I said we weren't going to play too many clips, and I lied.
I keep looking for signs that this is going to go back to normal, and I don't see it yet in the polling. If anything, right now we're careening towards a historic performance for a Republican presidential candidate, the likes of which we have not seen in 6 decades.
And when you dig into this number here, what is the makeup of that number?
This is where we get very interesting. So I decided to dive deeper into the crosstabs, figure out where is it that Joe Biden is truly struggling among...
So under 50, in 2020, Biden was plus 80, and over 50, Biden was plus 83. In 2024, Biden is plus 37 for under 50 and plus 74 over 50. So that shows some major, especially under 50, a major drop in points there. So they went from 80 to 37 and from 83 to 74. So it may...
Right now, Biden is in trouble.
Yeah.
He's not polling well.
Yeah.
Even in his long-standing constituency, the union's hierarchy is backing Biden, but the rank and file in polling is backing Trump.
Interesting. You know, if Trump...
But, we got a long way to go, Mike.
We do.
It's only June.
Yes, we do. I think...
we may see Trump in handcuffs going to prison.
Yeah,
so
then we'll have our first president in jail.
Yeah.
I think if Trump really wants it, he'll take a running mate of Hulk Hogan. Yeah, brother. I'm laying the smackdown. So, let's see here. That's the... Yeah, according to this next thing, says Trump... Oh, wait, is that the same one? That's the same one. Oh, that's not the one. Wait, it is? Wait a minute. Trump campaign launches Black Americans for Trump coalition. Trump's people are smart.
They are smart.
They know... I mean, Trump's not an idiot, but Trump acts like an idiot a lot of times. But he's got a good business mind. I still don't understand the whole documents at Mar-a-Lago and stuff. I don't understand why he would pull that stuff aside.
Well, the big thing is he shared a top secret memo that he took, and he shared it with somebody else. That's the crux that's really the crux of it.
Okay.
That's what makes it different from Biden, because Biden just had those things locked in his office, locked in the garage. So that's the difference according to the law. Me, I don't see a difference, right. But legally there is a difference.
But I'm thinking, why would you even bother taking that stuff?
Why? I don't know.
It seems to... Unless there's things that we're going to find out about UFOs or something like that. Oh, I don't know if I told you or not, there's another show besides Skinwalker Ranch. It's called Beyond the Skinwalker Ranch. And they have these two investigative reporters that are going across the country looking at all these sites one in Boston that was interesting, that supposedly was... saying there were a lot of UFOs and stuff like that. That actually was interesting that they... I like that one actually even more than the regular Skinwalker Ranch one, because they are going to different places. But that's been interesting for that reason. Okay, next. Okay, so we did those. Those are all gone. Okay, Father's Day exclusive. Adam Nimoy, son of Leonard, talks about their complicated relationship and reconciliation. It's funny when I think about it, because he died Leonard died quite a bit, I guess quite a few years ago. It says the relationship between fathers and sons are frequently filled with love, affection, and understanding, though many have experienced the opposite. And I would have never even thought of Leonard Nimoy as having a problem with his son, because I don't know, for some reason, to me, he seemed like a Family Guy. But I guess that he must not have been as much of a Family Guy as I thought. Says here, the publisher of the Chicago Review-Press describes the most humans, while the tabloids and fan publications portrayed the Nimoys as a close family. To his son, Leonard Nimoy was a total stranger. The actor was inscrutable as an iconic half-Vulcan science officer he portrayed in Star Trek, and even those close to him. Now his son's poignant memoir explores a complicated relationship and how it informed his views on marriage, parenting, and later sobriety. The difference is both men ventured down parallel paths, marriages leading to divorce, battling addiction, and finding recovery. I never even would have imagined that Leonard Nimoy had addiction problems, because you don't see a Vulcan ever partaking in that. And,
yes.
And he was typecast so bad that he really couldn't find a lot of work. And he was I think he was classically trained too. So that's kind of a weird thing to think about. Think about the real Leonard Nimoy. So yeah, he was.
A lot of actors leave successful shows because they're scared they'll never get another job.
Right. And
see, your typecast is a flamboyant blue coat. You'll never get another job.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd like to be typecast as something. Although I'm going to be doing an audition for a lead role. It's called Jonathan and the I forget what Jonathan. It's something about a guy that. Wait, let me look at it. I forget what it was now. It really looks interesting. It's. I just got this right before the show started, and I got to do some research on it. But oh, here it is, Johnny and the Spaceman, or something like that. Wait a minute, let me pull that up because I can't remember the name of it. Johnny Spaceman and the World of Yesterday. So they contacted me and asked me. They loved my resume and stuff, and they want me to audition for it. So I'm going to find out.
Do it. Yeah.
Yeah, why not? Yeah. It'll be an interesting, at least I'll be in the forefront. It's not a lot of money, but gets me out in the forefront and saying that I have a leading role. So I'd like to do that. And actually my new, not my acting coach, my career coach, is talking about, we're redoing some of my stuff because she wants me to do more clips where I'm a leading man. Because I was thinking I was not going to be a leading man for too many things, because a lot of leading men are in their 20s and 30s. And I kind of figured that's, my time's past me. I'm a little bit more than that. And she thinks that I should work as if I'm going to, or pretend as if I'm going to be a leading man. So I'm going to follow her guidance and see if that'll work. So I'm going to do all new clips so that it portrays me as a leading man. So, I don't know. Be interesting. But I definitely would like to get this thing. It's going to be in New York, up in Long Island. So, we'll see. What the heck? I got nothing to lose.
Yeah.
So, all right, so that's that. We got the movies. This week we had a good opening weekend for Inside Out 2. I just showed Christine Inside Out 1, and that was a good one too. That was back in 2016, I think. That was a good movie. It's an animated film, and it basically, I don't know if you know what the premise is, but it's about how we have those voices in our head, and the voices become animated characters. And there's a grumpy guy, and there's a guy that has fear, and there's a guy that is scared of everything, and there all these characters in your head speaking at once and telling you to do different things and all that. Inside Out 2 it did really well. It did $295 million globally. We're lucky to get what 50 million global, 50 million on a lot of these movies, and so this one did really well. We've been.
Is that a Pixar?
Yes, I believe it is, because that's.
They needed a win there.
Yes, they did.
They were not doing good.
All the movies have been just sucking big time, but here it is. Inside Out delivers a historic 155 million U.S. opening, 295 global. That is what the kind of films that, like Fast and Furious was doing. They were doing big box offices, and finally, they finally got something that made money. Every movie they've been putting out has been tanking really bad. I'm checking to see. Yeah, it is a Disney. It is Pixar. So I wasn't sure. I was thinking it was, because they do all the good stuff anyway. It says, in a joyous comeback for Pixar, the tentpole opened at 155 million domestically over the Father's Day weekend, well ahead of the 90 million expected, and to secure the second biggest animated launch of all time for a 3-day weekend, not just adjusted for inflation. It also did a historic business overseas with a record 140 million and a global total of 295. So I'm glad to see that happen, because it's been a while since, anybody's really
been successful.
Yeah, I mean, we're seeing them here and there, but not to that level. That kind of level is the Fast and Furious level, or the Rock level and stuff. They're the kind of movies that have been doing well. So, yeah, it says here, following the sequel to Incredibles 2, is the crown holder for the top animated domestic of 182 million that was previously held by the Super Mario Brothers movie. Did you see that Super Mario Brothers movie?
No.
Do you have Peacock?
Yes.
Okay. Watch the Saturday Night Live for the Christmas that I have not laughed so hard in my Saturday Night Live watching career. They've got some good people on there. They did a spoof on Super Mario Brothers that I laughed so hard. Oh man! And they also did one making fun of Beavis and Butthead that was just the funniest. I think the funniest movie, the funniest clip that Saturday Night Live has probably ever had, ever. It was obnoxiously funny. That's one with not Ryan Reynolds, Ryan Gosling. That's the one he starred in. They did that. It was just so freaking funny. I laughed so hard. And the Super Mario was done a couple months before that, and I think it was Christmas, the year. This past Christmas. I think it was this past Christmas. It was really, really funny. But the Super Mario was really funny because they must have spent money on that one, because they usually, they have a low budget, but they spent some decent money on that one. Just the things they did with that was just Luigi was in it and everything. It was just really super funny. So, I think they have a really good cast on that movie, or on that show now. But anyway, Super Mario actually did 146 million. That's what made me think of it. I saw this on there. So Inside Out 2 is just what the doctor ordered. By the way, they're going to bring back Iron Man. Now he died in the he died in the Avengers movie. So I'm still curious how they're going to bring him back. If it's going to be another universe or whatever it is, but they're actually bringing him back. So
a twin.
I don't know. I guess money can bring you back.
Yes.
Because originally the one who was going to die was Captain America, and they changed the story because Robert Downey Jr. said, "I'm done," and they said, "Okay, we'll kill you off then." So I don't know. They're bringing him back somehow. So anyway, that's the movie stuff. So that was kind of cool. What do we got? Anything else I need? Oh, Bad Boys Ride or Die did pretty good too. And what else we got on there? I guess that's about it with that. Okay. Okay. All right, now. All right, we could do the, let's do the rock thing. All right. This I found very interesting because this is the most influential rock bands according to this finder, I guess. I don't know what I want to call them. All I can say is I don't think that they're our age group because they were really off the mark as far as I'm concerned. So I did a spreadsheet to put us all side by side so we can see what we did, see how well we did. And if we went by the book and said, okay, this is what they said, we would not do that well. We would not have gotten scoring points for any of this. But I'm going to talk about that, and I'm sure you have a few things to say about it as well. I'm going to tell you what we scored on, and then I'll show you the list. Well, you'll be able to see the list if you are logged on. But I found it very interesting, their list, and very interesting our list, Christine's list, Ashley's list, so that we all have different generations involved there. Oh, what happened to you? Oh, you're there. Okay, I thought I lost you. So we have a bunch of us doing this, so we can actually check the generations of this. Okay, the spreadsheet is loading. Okay. No. Where is it? Hold on. There it is. Okay. All right, so here is the list. The list according to them: The Police, Metallica, Van Halen, Ramones, Radiohead, Rush, Nirvana, Queen, Led Zeppelin, and the Beatles. You scored on 2 of those. I scored on 4 of those. Christine scored on 2 of those. Ashley scored on 2 of those. Now you did 2 lists. You did Doug's list of your personal ones and what you thought they were going to do. I think that was what the 2 lists that you had. And the only 2 that you won on were Led Zeppelin and the Beatles. But I think as far as their list goes, the Police, I could see the reason for the Police, because they were a lot different from everybody else. Did the reggae thing and really brought in a little stuff to it. Metallica, I kind of see theirs, but I don't know if I would have put Metallica in the top of that, but okay. Van Halen, I totally agree. Anytime Van Halen, because Eddie did so many things that everybody tried to copy him. Ramones, I guess I could understand it because it was the beginning of punk for us. I don't know. Radiohead, I don't see the reason for Radiohead. Rush, I could understand. Nirvana, he did change the grunge scene. So, okay. Queen, yeah. Led Zeppelin, definitely. The Beatles, without a doubt. I could agree with those. With the 4 that I chose that matched, I definitely say that that's true. I also put some extras on there that we didn't talk about. And actually, some of them, let's see if you did some interesting ones. We both agreed on Leonard Skinner. How could you not have Leonard Skinner? They
I don't know.
Changed the music world, but they were so influential to so many different bands. I don't know why they didn't pick them. I would have picked them over Radiohead. Eric Clapton I put in there because Cream, all the different bands he played in, He should have been in that. I put Def Leppard because they really changed a generation. They put rap with rock. They were the first to do that. AC/DC. How could you not put AC/DC? I mean, they're still out there today touring. How could they not put the Rolling Stones? You put the Beatles, you got to put the Rolling Stones, unless you think they're the same band. I mean, freaking Mick Jagger's still out there touring today. My acting coach has seen him 3 times in the past 2 months. He's got a lot of money. And he sees him up close. He showed me on his phone. He's right up on top of him, basically. He's buying really good tickets. I gotta be hanging out with him. You put Leonard Skinner, definitely. U2. I didn't think of U2 when I did mine. I probably might have thought of U2.
They have a conscience. They were the conscience of a whole generation.
And the sound was unique.
Yeah.
And they were a 3-piece band, or are a 3-piece band. They absolutely should have gotten a slot in there.
How could you miss the Dead? Did you like the Dead in there?
That's the next one I'm going to talk about.
Okay.
But U2 should have definitely been on that list. In my eyes, that's a big overlook, especially since they came out in the 80s for us, I think. I'm pretty sure around, if nothing else, it was the late 70s, 80s. But they should have been on that list without a doubt. You had Grateful Dead. So did Christine had Grateful Dead too, I think. Yes, she did too. That would have been how could you not have Grateful Dead? I don't like the Grateful Dead, but they...
Correct. I don't like them either, but they changed music.
Yes, and how many people followed their bands and cars and follow them all over the country. That's influential. You can't deny that. You had Rolling Stones, which I just talked about. Jimi Hendrix, you had them on there. I didn't think of them, but jeez, how could you not? I mean, he
revolutionized guitar playing.
And he was a lefty.
Yes.
And I don't think I know of anybody else that set their guitar on fire on stage either. And he was revolutionary. And you had Pink Floyd. I didn't put them on. When I saw your list, I said, "Oh, I should have put Pink Floyd on my list," because that's one that. How could you not? The Wall was so revolutionary that Pink Floyd broke out and had been around forever before that, and people didn't know who they were till that album. And yet, Animals is one of my favorite albums. Wish You Were Here is one of my favorite albums. Dark Side of the Moon. Those were great.
Well, that's what introduced me. Dark Side of the Moon introduced me to Floyd, and I was hooked.
Yeah.
Ever after.
And it's because they were concept albums too.
Yes.
And I had never heard of a concept album until then. You don't see Van Halen doing concept albums. They just did loud albums, and it was really good. And to me, that anyone that can change the way someone plays, the way that he would tap that guitar, the way he would play that guitar, that was things like Jimi Hendrix did the same thing. It's the way he played guitar that really, you were mesmerized by him. You also put Buddy Holly. I hadn't thought back that far. And I thought, oh, yeah, Buddy Holly, yeah.
But he changed music.
Yes. And your next one changed music, and he was one of my biggest influences, and I didn't put him on. And I should have.
Elvis.
To me, Elvis, wow, I mean, he was the guy that brought Hollywood and music together, and he had so much beyond that we'll never even recognize. Dying on the Toilet was cool.
Yeah. Well, Elvis was the classic Jagger.
Yes.
The way he moved, the way he enticed women.
Yes. And he was a big political thing because he went to war.
He went to war.
A lot of people would not have done that. Then you had your personal favorites, the Beatles, Led Zeppelin, which were 2 hits, Pink Floyd, Leonard Skinner, Allman Brothers. That one, on the line of Leonard Skinner, Allman Brothers did the same growth in that a lot of their songs were covered by other bands.
Yes.
Dreams I'll Never See. If you ever heard Dreams I'll Never See by them and Dreams I'll Never See by Molly Hatchet, two totally different songs, but it's the same song. And I like both versions.
Yes.
And it's really strange that they would be that different, but yet I like both versions. Joe Bonamassa, who's that? I don't know who he is.
He is a progressive blues rock guy. He's a great guitarist.
So
he's short of Prince, but he's a great guitarist.
Okay.
And he's influential to me because he opened up. You'll see Kenny Wayne Shepherd and Stevie Ray Vaughan. That's the core of blues rock.
Okay. Well, I've heard Kenny Wayne Shepherd. In fact, a lot of the times, bands I've been in, like Black is Blue, or Black and Blues.
Black and
Blue.
Blue is black.
Blue is, yeah, that's it. Yeah. A lot of bands cover that, and it's because of him. Doobie Brothers, that another one that I thought was, that was one that everyone knows their songs, and that's where what's his name, keyboard player, came from. Keyboard player for what's his name?
I've lost it.
For Doobie Brothers. I can see him. He's got that full beard. Doobie Brothers keyboard. Can't believe I can't remember his name. Michael McDonald. Yeah.
Yeah, it's Michael McDonald.
He's got a classic voice and beautiful songwriting and stuff like that. And it's hard to narrow it down to 10, but I truly think that their 10 is not really. I mean, yeah, Rush, yeah, Nirvana. I don't know, Nirvana. I think that there are more important people than that. Stevie Ray Vaughan, I agree with you. I did a couple of his songs. They are not hard. They're not easy songs to do. He was such a genius in what he did. I definitely loved his sound. Boston, he had, what's his face? Schultz had his own pedal that he created, and he was an engineer and had this, and nobody could duplicate his sound because he made that special pedal just for his songs. Bad Company is a great. I do a couple Bad Company songs in the new band. So those were definitely some of the new ones that some of the other ones that I put on my list that weren't put on other lists. Michael Jackson.
Well, I didn't even think of that. Of course, Michael Jackson. He should be on that list.
And actually,
he changed.
Bad. Is it Bad? I think Bad. Eddie Van Halen played on that. He was.
I didn't even think of Michael Jackson. Yeah. He needs to be on my list.
Yeah, and Judas Priest.
Even though I didn't like him that much, I didn't enjoy his music that much. He was. I mean, he was it.
Showman.
For how long?
Everything, and he started at a young age, like 5 or 6. And
his backstory of his father.
Yes. So I thought about him, and I thought, well, he should be on that list. And actually, the other person I didn't put on my list that probably should be on that list would be Prince. You know,
Prince
should be
his guitar.
Yeah, the guy,
his guitar.
Actually, America's Got Talent. They have to clear things for their show. If you want to play somebody's song, it has to be cleared through them. They just did a thing where they cleared Purple Rain. They cleared Purple Rain for this gospel group to come in and sing Purple Rain. It took them like forever because the family wouldn't approve them doing that. And then they told them, look, this is for a black blues, not really blues, but group. Gospel group, that's a word. And they did approve it then. And it was awesome. They did this really great Purple Rain thing, or not Purple Rain. Yeah, was it Purple Rain? I think it was Purple Rain. It was just really, really good. I was really glad they approved it. I had Deep Purple on my thing. Actually, I wanted Blackmore is actually what I want to put because he's Rainbow, Deep Purple, and all these bands that he did on the side, he is the reason that they were good. Fleetwood Mac I put on my list.
There you go. That's another one.
Yeah, because they even before Stevie Nicks and all that, the early version was really good.
See, I like the later version, but I really like the early version.
I like both versions. I loved their Green Manalishi was so cool.
Yes.
I loved the way they did that. Then, how about this one, David Bowie?
I had him on and took him off.
Did you? Okay. I was like, wow, I need about twice as many as they're letting us have because I couldn't narrow it down. I had a hard time.
So I'm in Wildwood. I'm in my 20s, and I'm in Wildwood. And we go to this club, my two buddies and me, and Ziggy Stardust was playing the club.
Oh.
And so I go over and ask this girl to dance. There was a table of girls. I wanted to ask the tall, brunette, beautiful one to dance, and she agreed. We went down and danced. So Bowie gets off the stage, and he starts dancing with people. He's dancing with girls. Oh, he comes over to me and doesn't dance with the girl. He dances with me. The girl went left, and she never danced with me again. But I got to dance with David Bowie. So you may think what you want. I still count it as a big deal in my life.
If you see me playing, and I came down and danced with you, would you dance with me?
No.
Jeez. I'm really disappointed. Not really.
Well, I know you. We've already danced, so I guess I'll dance again.
There you go. I mean, the least you can do. Jeez. Some people would.
We won't go into that last dance, but. Here comes the sun.
Roberts Valley Road. That's it.
And here comes the sun.
Yep. I had Alice Cooper on my list. He was very.
Well, he's another one. He was powerful.
And here's two more that really should be on some list. Billy Joel.
Well, yes.
And ZZ Top. So.
I thought about ZZ too.
Yeah.
But I went with Buddy Holly instead of ZZ.
Now here's the list that Christine had. She said Elvis, Rolling Stones. She said Aerosmith. I didn't think of Aerosmith. Aerosmith. They were very. We're doing a bunch of Aerosmith in our band. I am really surprised. I'm singing Aerosmith and I'm doing really well with Aerosmith. That makes me happy because back in the day, I wasn't doing. Back in the early days, that's what that is. Okay. Back in the day, I couldn't do Aerosmith because he's just got a high voice, and like I'm doing a lot of stuff I couldn't do when I was younger. Leonard Skinner. She has Eagles on her list, which should be on there. She has Pink Floyd. She has The Who. I should have. I did have The Who on my list. She had Queen, which. Queen should definitely be on that list. Grateful Dead and Beatles. But she also threw three ones in there that one of them I didn't expect. Pink. I said, Pink? Did you mean Pink Floyd? She said, no, Pink. I said, the woman Pink. And she said, yeah. Okay, I don't really agree with that because I don't think that Pink contributed or influenced enough people to, because that's not even rock to me. I mean, but that's okay. I mean, some people would say that some of mine wouldn't necessarily fit either. What do you want? You're interrupting. If you're going to talk about rock and roll, that's okay. Fine, you win. Doggy treat break. Then she had Meatloaf, which would actually.
Meatloaf, yeah.
Meatloaf, because he was one of the first people to do a show built around the story, and like Pink Floyd did that too. But he did it in a different, grittier way of doing it. And I actually saw him about 6 times, and he never sang well on stage. But I loved the way he did his shows, and I got his tickets for free. So, you go where you get the free tickets. And then she also put Guns N' Roses, which actually. I would say they are justified more than Radiohead, but I don't know that they would necessarily be. Anyway, here's Ashley's. Now, Ashley has about 30 years difference between us, so they're going to be a little different, but not as much as I thought it would be. She said AC/DC. Okay. She said Green Day. Okay. Then she said Yellow Card. I don't know who they are. She said Bowling for Soup. I don't know who they are.
Don't know who they are.
She said Fleetwood Mac, which we talked about earlier. Guns N' Roses, which we just talked about. She said Queen, and she said Beatles. So she had 2 hits. She said Rolling Stones, which we talked about. But Ed Sheeran, maybe. But I don't give him as high up as some of the ones that are on our list that we previously talked about. So I really saw a good wide variety between, because her being that much younger than us, I figured she would say some younger things. But like I said, I don't know who Yellow Card or Bowling for Soup is, but I have to imagine they're newer bands. So, because the rest of the bands I knew who they were. But yeah, we've had a nice. This was a cool thing because it was a lot different, and I totally don't agree with their choosing of their bands. But I guess the Radiohead is really the biggest one I would have as the objections, because I could understand Ramones, I could understand Rush, because actually I watched a Rush clip on YouTube last night, and they actually reproduce their music really well on stage. I was surprised, because they're only a 3-piece band, so for them to be able to manipulate that music the way that they do, I think that it was well done. So, I thought that this was a good test of what you would choose or what I would choose and what they would choose. So it came out, we all agreed that Queen and the Beatles belong there. And I guess the other one was Led Zeppelin. You and I believed that. But interesting enough, though, that the four that we matched were Van Halen, Queen, Led Zeppelin, and the Beatles were the ones that we split amongst us. The ones that were most influential.
I think it has to do with age. I grew up listening to Elvis Presley and Buddy Holly.
So did I. My mom played it all the time, and that's one of the reasons I wanted to be in music, because I saw this monster of a guy that came out and just knocked their socks off, and wow, I thought, I want to be that guy. I want to be able to make women and just love me for my voice. And it is okay. I didn't do it like he does it, but it's fun. It was definitely a different way of life, so to speak. If I had to do it over again, I would have done it a little differently, I think. But it's a different time too, because back then it wasn't done. So what he did paved the way for a lot of us, and because he was so unique.
Well, that's what I tried to judge my list on. Who paved the way?
Yes. And Led Zeppelin.
Not the follow-up bands. Right. Who paved the way?
That's the thing I think that Ashley doesn't seem to understand, is that the Green Day that we had might have been more of a, probably more like Ramones would be a Green Day from that era, Bowling for Soup, I don't even know what they are, so I have to look at that one. I'm going to have to look them up.
Yeah, and to me, we already talked about this, but how could you leave off Hendrix? I mean,
Yeah, and it's really...
He started a whole trend of great guitarists.
And the loudness of his music was louder than a lot of bands. Probably most bands at that time. I can't think of another band that was that radical. And he was black. Well, will always be. And for a black rock and roller that did that loud of music, that type of, and a 3-piece, to do that in that day and age, I can't name another guy that was maybe Thin Lizzy, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe, but not as radical as he was.
Well, I was too young for Woodstock. I was only 14. But his rendition of the national anthem became an anthem for all generations.
Yes. Yeah. And he hated a lot of other people. He hated, like he opened for the Monkees on tour. Opened for the Monkees.
Monkees.
I can't imagine those two bands together.
No.
But yet, he opened for them. It was like the music back then was still finding itself. And I don't think there's much that hasn't been done. But they really defined that stuff. That's why I think that Deep Purple is another one like that it created a sound that wasn't there, and just a fuller sound. It had the keyboards, and it had that heavy driving sound and stuff. These bands, it was a good exercise. I thought it was a fun exercise to do, because I really was curious not really what you would say as much, because I think we're aligned pretty much on most of them, but I was curious what Christine would say, what Ashley would say, because they're really outside what we were doing. And it's always interesting to listen to a woman's view on rock music versus ours, because we're going to be into an edgier stuff.
Yes.
And so I was surprised that she said Aerosmith, though. I was really kind of...
Yeah, that's a little out of character for most women.
Yeah. I think it's because I do Aerosmith in my band. I think that probably brings it up for her. But I thought of Aerosmith because of a lot of the things that... Because they do very... It's funny, when I told my old friend Rich about doing Aerosmith, he said, wow, that's some intricate stuff. And I didn't think about it because I don't play anything. I just sing it. But a lot of the songs they do are not straightforward songs. Like, a lot of the songs like The Who did, it's repetitious stuff. It's real simple and repetitious. But when you talk about Aerosmith, there's a lot of intricate things that they do between their songs. And
well, you have to be a fine musician to be able to duplicate Aerosmith.
Yes, and the team I got is actually, they do it really well. I'm not patting myself on the back for that. I'm patting them on the back because they really do it well. And I never even thought about it till he said it, and I thought, oh wow, yeah, really it is. Because like they don't do your basic verse, chorus, verse, chorus, verse, chorus. They might do a long intro, and then a verse, and a verse, and a chorus, and a lead, and they don't do things in the way that is structurally...
Normally it's structured.
It's interesting, because I never really thought about it until he said something about it, and I thought, oh, that lead does have a little kind of weird thing, little things that in that lead that's different from their other leads, and it just kind of... I never really thought about it, but it's true. And that's the way Deep Purple is, too. Deep Purple puts in these little things in there, and Led Zeppelin is very much like that. So it's kind of funny to think about where the structure of the song goes and how it ends up the way that it does. So, yeah, I've learned, even in my old age, things like that.
So, Mike, two things. Allman Brothers Band was the first, or not the first, but the greatest jam band. Yeah. It started the whole genre of jam bands. Yeah. That's why I had him on my personal list. But Joe Bonamassa,
yeah.
Listen to Just Got Paid by ZZ Top. Yeah. Listen to his rendition of that.
Okay. I'm going to look him up because I never heard of him. Oh, I saw his name before one other time.
He's a niche guy. I mean, blues rock is a niche.
Yes. And I find it in my older age, I appreciate the blues rockers more than I used to. When I was younger, actually 40 years ago, all the guys were playing blues rock. And that's how I heard of Kenny Wayne Shepherd. That's where I heard of Stevie Ray Vaughan. But I was like, it's okay. I like Van Halen. I was like, I want Def Leppard. But as I get older, I'm realizing that there's a lot more to the blues rock. And actually, when Ken and I used to do a couple Stevie Ray Vaughan stuff, I found it really hard to sing his stuff because of the feeling in the stuff. It wasn't a straight 4 count. And actually, the problem I have with doing ZZ Top is when you do that doesn't come in at the same time every time he does it. Comes in at, like I'm counting it out and I'm thinking, all right, that comes in on a 3 count. Why a 3 count? Why wouldn't it be a 2 count or a 1 count? Or, it's like, now I got to do it right because these guys are like, if I do it wrong, the guitar player gets all weird about it. And I'm thinking, how do I do this that it's right? Because it's not on an exact count. It's over sort of a period of time that he does it, and it's not the same every time. Yeah, that's the way it is with him, and that's the way it is with Stevie Ray Vaughan. That's the way it is with Thorogood. All those guys that do those blues things, and it's interesting to hear, the appreciation for what they do. I appreciate it more now that I'm stuck doing it than when I just listened to it and didn't have to worry about it.
So listen to him this week. I'd love to hear your
okay.
What you think. I just love his music.
Is he like in his
40s?
Okay. I'll have to do some checking him out because.
So when you go to see him, the crowd is drinking wine, not beer.
Okay.
Do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a different crowd.
But it's cool that it all comes together with the music brings people together.
Yeah.
But
now I was going to put a band called White Cross in, but White Cross is a Christian rock band.
Okay.
And it doesn't translate well into secular music. But I was just going to put them on because they're a whole genre to themselves.
Right. Yeah. Well, those kind of bands are interesting to me because when you build a following, and your people really, really love you, they will fight tooth and nail for you. So it's kind of interesting to see bands or persons like that people are drawn to. Yeah, it's interesting stuff. I kind of, and I'm a little more open than I used to be. Back in the old days, there were bands I liked and there were bands that I didn't care for, and you weren't going to change my opinion about them, But now I'm a little more open to it because, like for instance, I'm doing that stupid. Who does that? Georgia Satellite song, "No Huggy, No Kissy, to." I hate that song so much. And I did get them to drop. What song was that? It had something to do. It brought up Satan and all that stuff. I don't sing about stuff like that. I don't want to be associated with songs that, like, I wouldn't sing "Running with the Devil," even though I love Van Halen. Right. I'm not going to sing that. Just not anything that I don't want to do. Political songs. Don't want to do religious related, whether it's pro or con songs. I just don't want to get that rap around me. I sing about, I write songs about, I just finished, just wrote a song. It's not finished yet. It's about, it's talking about not living in the past. You don't live in the future. We only have today.
Yeah.
And that's what that's the chorus basically. Because I just started thinking about Ken not being with me anymore, and how we had these big dreams that we were going to take this to the top, and you can plan for the future, but you can't live for the future. You can only plan for the future, and we only really have today, and that's why you got to make the best of today.
You got to enjoy the moment because you may not have a moment tomorrow.
Yeah, and that's the way as I got older, worrying about possessions. One of the things that Ashley was upset about was her father died and she kept his chair. And she broke up with, well, they're back together today, broke up with her boyfriend, and her big thing was she was worried about him getting rid of her chair. I said, Ashley, the most important thing is that the memory of her father is not going to go away. And that is a chair. It's a belonging. It's a thing. And that's something that took me a long thing to understand, was that possessions aren't everything.
That's right.
And it took me till the last couple of years to understand that, because with me growing up in the situation I was, my belief is that those with the most toys win. I don't believe that anymore. And so I'm little by little scaling myself down and getting into a situation that's much more manageable and throwing things away that I thought were important. And that's where that song came from too, that it doesn't really matter what you have possession wise. So I guess we all grow up at some point, and at some point I might actually grow up and realize that. But I think that the important thing is that we just do the best job we can to help others, and it's something I never would have thought that I would be thinking of. It's not really us growing up. I don't know. It scares me that I'm thinking rational things like that. Oh, by the way, I bought another belt. But I didn't buy this belt for any I didn't need this belt because I don't really care about WWE belts. But this belt has something special on it. Somebody's signature.
Oh, who is it? Who is it?
I believe it's John Cena, because this is his belt, because he had the spinning belt. So I think I'm going to try to use this for a promotion, or might use it for when I set up my gimmick table, sell it to somebody for, a decent price. Not a overinflated price, but a decent price, so I can make some money off of it. But that would be kind of cool if it is seen as, if I can get it certified as his signature.
So I have been watching wrestling again. What? I was into it in the 70s, and I'm watching it again because of my grandson. He's into it.
Oh, huh.
He is into it big time. Monday nights and Friday nights.
How old?
6.
Wow, really? Huh.
And he's got his favorites, and he got his guys he doesn't like at all. And
who does he like?
And he has a video game. All right.
He likes Cody.
Yes, he does.
I do too. Cody, I think, is a very special guy. I never met him. I met his brother, who I thought was a jerk. Cody is the real deal. He was actually an amateur wrestler, and he used to do really well. He participated in a lot of those things, going into college and stuff. He was a college athlete. So, yeah, he's cool. I like him. I'm glad that he finally found his way in the sport, because he is what his dad would really appreciate. His dad came in a time of when you had that larger-than-life guy, and he was the plumber's son, is what Dusty Rhodes was, and his son is that the hero, the big hero, and
yeah,
I like him a lot. He's got a good gimmick. So, and he's a real good person too.
So I watch every time I'm over. I'm watching YouTube or I'm watching wrestling.
I don't know what to say about that.
I'm back to my roots. I'm coming back to my roots.
Who do you like?
I haven't made a decision yet. I'm too new to it right now. I'm trying to figure out who's who, who's aligned with who, whose family is in who's in whose family.
Well, I'll tell you what,
and they change so much. I think I get a handle on it, and then one guy turns on the family, and then I'm lost again.
That's where the drama comes in.
Yeah.
I saw the video of me being knocked out, and that was a little disturbing because that guy that hit me was really close to me. So that kind of bothers me a little bit. But we'll get our just desserts. Things come around. So it's wrestling has really evolved in an interesting way. It's not the Superman that we had in the 80s and 90s. It's not Vince McMahon's thing anymore. He doesn't own it anymore. It's owned by Endeavor, which owns UFC. And they were in Scotland this weekend, and they did a really good show. They did a really awesome show this weekend. And I have to sometimes remind myself the reasons why they do things, because I don't really like the tag belts being on those particular women that it's on now, and because I didn't really like them from day one, and I think they took them off of two really good athletes. The girl with the long ponytail, she's really good, and her partner is really good. Her partner is first off, the girl with the long ponytail, she was very athletic. She was in track and field, I think, in college. And the other girl was a basketball star, a female basketball star, I think. It's really interesting. They're getting some top-notch athletes out of college and stuff, and they're looking at developing them. So, and they actually started, if you watched last night's show, the end of that show probably confused you. There's a reason. The reason for the end of that show is that Bray Wyatt died a little over a year ago, and he was young. He was Mike Rotunda's son, or IRS, if you remember IRS, or Blackjack Mulligan's grandson.
Okay.
So his real name is Rotunda. The guy that died, and his name was Wyndham Rotunda, after Blackjack Mulligan's real name is Wyndham, and his uncle is Barry Windham, who was Blackjack Mulligan's son. Do I get that right? That's right. Anyway, so they're all they're in families. I mean, Blackjack Mulligan, Barry Windham, Mike Rotunda. Mike Rotunda was IRS, so they're all related through marriage, or through hierarchy. But Bray Wyatt is Mike Rotunda's son, who is he's also Barry Windham's nephew. He died of a little heart problem that he had. He didn't wear his pacemaker that day, and he died. And he was only 36 or something like that. And anyway, his brother was going to become... Okay, so he had his Bray Wyatt character had a persona where he was kind of a weird guy and had this really weird beard and did all this weird stuff. But he had a group of people that he had this gimmick that was really cool. He would walk out with one of those lanterns that light, and he would walk around, he would say, "I'm here," and he'd blow it out, and that'd be the end of his promo and stuff. He had a thing going where he was going to get his brother. His brother didn't make any major characters. Every character he took flopped. So he's bringing his brother in as his Uncle Howdy. And before he brought his brother out, he died. So now his brother is going to take over the legacy of Bray Wyatt, which is actually pretty cool. The rabbit and stuff was all part of Bray Wyatt's gimmick. So he's going to continue the gimmick, which was really actually a very popular gimmick. He became a very famous guy pretty quickly in the WWE because of his unique ideas that he had for his character. And he made this alter image guy. It was interesting to see the stuff he was coming up with. And I'm glad to see that his brother's finally going to get a chance to be something. So I hope he does well with it. And, yeah, it's just it's sad to see that brother died so young. He made money really quickly, though. He made a lot of money. Everybody wanted gimmicks, wanted his like when you have the thing about wrestling is that you get a guaranteed gimmick, you get a guaranteed price that you will get. And then you make a lot of money off of your gimmicks that you're selling, your dolls, your autographs, your belts with autographs and stuff like that. And he was at a point where he was making so much money that he never imagined that he was making that kind of money. So I just kind of like to see the young guys succeed and don't become cookie cutters, you know.
Mike, if you watch the animated version of WWE and I think it's WCE.
No.
It's animation, but it's the wrestlers wrestling, and they have a whole setup going to. Well, he's into that too.
Okay.
He also has about 12 dolls at this point.
I've got.
I mean, he's into it. 6 years old, and he is into it.
Roddy Piper.
There you go.
I found out he was a jerk, by the way. I met a lot of those guys and worked with a lot of those guys outside of WWE in the independents. Like this guy here, he made. Let me ask you. Okay, so you know who Roddy Piper is, right? You know.
No.
Oh, you don't know who he is. Okay.
I don't know who he
is. He
was
one of the biggest guys when WWE was blowing up. Him and Hogan, Mr. T was involved in WrestleMania. He was one of the original people that was involved in WrestleMania. And when I met him about 10 years ago, well, probably more than that, probably 14 years ago, let's say 14 years ago, because I think it was around 2009, 2010. He was coming in from Oregon to work for this promoter. And this promoter was such a mark, which means that he would become a child in front of the guy. You know, the promoter wanted him so bad he was willing to pay just about any price to have him. He had to pay for him coming in, had to pay for someone to pick him up, had to pay for this really nice hotel, had to pay for his food and all that stuff for a couple days just to get him in. How much do you think he got paid for that weekend or for that day?
No idea. $100,000?
Well, no, not that bad. It was pretty bad, though. It was $10,000 for a guy that couldn't wrestle. In fact, I was supposed to be in the angle with him. It was supposed to be my tag team and me against the other tag team. And originally we were going to try to get him to ref. And then he wouldn't do that. And he wouldn't even talk to us. And that just doesn't happen. When you're a big name like that and they hire you to come in, the protocol is you come in and say hi to everybody, you shake everybody's hands, and you work out the match or whatever you're going to do for that match, and then you do the job or whatever the job is. He wanted to be in a room without everybody, without the wrestlers, which is not cool. Because you're in the same business, you're supposed to. I've never had that. I've worked with Tito Santana, I've worked with Hogan, I've worked with a $1 Million Man. They were all cool. But he had his own room, and the only person that would talk to us was his manager, who would come to us and say, "What are you guys doing?" We would tell him what we're doing. Then he would go back. He'd say, "Okay, he's going to do this." No, that's not in the script. That's not what we're supposed to do. Well, it didn't matter because he was calling the shots from his room, and he was supposed to interview us. And he said, "Well, how about we bring one person out at a time?" That's not the way you do the interviews. The interviews are, if you're a team, you go out as a team.
A team.
Well, he had one of us go out at one bad guy, one good guy, one bad guy, one good guy, and then I would come out. And it's like, well, that's really stupid. It drags it out, doesn't, And then he was supposed to help us. He was going to ref the match. He wouldn't ref the match. He wouldn't even come to the ring. It was like, that was ridiculous. So when my first guy goes out, instead of cutting a promo for the match, he cut a promo against Piper because he was being a jerk. He was, they just started, and then the good guy went out and he cut a promo against Piper. And then the next guy went out and cut a promo against Piper. And then the next guy went out. I'm like, okay, well, nobody knows what match this is. So I went out and I cut the promo for the match so that everybody knew what was going on. It was just horrible. And actually, I have around here somewhere a VHS tape of, what was that movie that he was in? He wore sunglasses and he could see the aliens or whatever. He autographed that and I got the copy of the autographed videotape of that. They Live. He was
yes.
Anyway, I got an autographed copy of that, so I don't know. It isn't worth as much to me now because he acted like a jerk, but I just was disappointed because most guys, they come in and they do what they're supposed to do, and he refused to be part of this show. He just wanted to take his money and run. And if I was getting $10,000, I would have done backflips if that's what they wanted. That's a lot of money for someone that isn't really worth any of that because nobody cares about Piper anymore or didn't care about him. And all these things I hear about, oh, Piper was a great guy when I met him. He wasn't a great guy when I met him. He was a piece of crap. So he really disrespected the business that he was in for so many years. And most guys don't do that. Most guys leave the business and are glad they were in the business. So, just kind of disappoints me that someone doesn't do the right thing. There's certain things you do, like when I got hit with the belt. I did the right thing because that was the right thing to do. And you got to do what's right for the business, not for yourself. But, I'm probably the only guy that speaks badly of him, but I really felt that he was a jerk. So he could have done.
Well, it certainly sounds like he was a jerk.
Yeah, he really should have done the job like he was supposed to. But anyway, it's cool to see that your grandson is liking it. And
oh yeah.
And I work with so many of the, well, not many of the people that actually some of the people that he probably saw on that show. I've worked with Luke Gallows. He's one of the big. He's a really big guy that. Actually, CM Punk. I didn't think.
See, I'm trying to learn all this again.
Yeah.
Because I'm back with Chief J Strongbow.
Yes, the Italian.
That's where I left the show. Was with him.
The Italian Indian.
Yes. So I'm trying to learn everything again.
Yeah.
But I'm interested. I got interested again.
I kind of like. I like where most of the stuff is now. Women actually wrestle now, and they aren't just eye candy. Although when I was a kid, I remember seeing those women in the rings and wearing the full bathing suits, and I thought, why? They just didn't wrestle. I wanted to see wrestling, and I didn't think the women were all that attractive then too either, because I thought, well, these aren't really good-looking women. These guys were fawning over them, but it just isn't the same. But the women now are every bit as athletic as the men.
Yes.
And they do some really crazy stuff. I'm glad to see that that's happened. I'm glad to see that the women aren't eye candy, and that they're doing what they need to do to get there. And the thing has changed so much since I was a kid. It's become better, so in a lot of ways. But there's not much you can do that hasn't been done. Snuka did the high fly off the top of the cage, and now it's not a big deal. But if everybody does it, it doesn't become special anymore. And that's the one problem that everybody does. I remember one time when a clothesline would be a finisher. Stan Hansen would come out and clothesline, and you wouldn't get back up. Now a guy gets a clothesline, no big deal, gets back up, and it's not a finisher. But it's funny to watch that stuff nowadays. And I watched it from when I was probably 12 the first time I started watching, and I was like a closet watcher. My dad would watch it, and I'd be like watching out of the corner of my eye because I didn't want people to think I was watching it. And if my dad only knew how far I was into it, that'd be funny to know what he would think, because he was always for the good guys, and I was mostly bad guy when I was in the business. Even now, right now I'm a tweener. I'm kind of like, I could go either way with this, because I could I'm going to probably be, at the end of the month, I should be a full-fledged good guy in the one promotion. And the other promotion, I think I'm a full-fledged good guy. So, after I got hit by the belt, that turned me to a good guy. And if things go the way I expect them to the end of the month, at the end of the month at another promotion, I'll be a full-fledged good guy. So, it'll be fun. But, yet...
So I'll keep you... As soon as I find out my favorite wrestler, I'll let you know.
I think my favorite is Cody, just because he's come a long way. From the first time I saw him till now, he's worked to get where he's got. Some people have it given to him. He worked to get it. He left the WWE probably mid-2010s to some, I think he's somewhere. I think his dad was still alive when he left, because he wasn't getting. They kept putting him in these stupid characters, and he just couldn't get it. He couldn't get it to work, and now he's got it all. It's all working the way it should. He's doing everything right. And actually, when he first came back to the WWE, his first match, he ripped his pectoral muscle, and he still had to do the match. He didn't have to, but he did the match with a torn pectoral muscle. And it was,
oh my goodness,
it was so black and blue. I've never seen the body turn that black and blue. But you know what? You have a determination. You want it that bad. You're going to do what you got to do. And they finally gave him the belt, and that was such a good thing, because his dad never had the belt. And his dad had the belt in other places, but the big story was his dad never had a WWE belt. And even as long as he was in the WWE, he never held one, because Vince never thought he was worth a belt. But yet he was well worth the belt. So it's just kind of funny when you see the things he's gone through to get where he's gotten. So
you're saying that wrestling is better since McMahon is gone?
Yeah, because it doesn't have the Superman characters. It doesn't have it doesn't have the Hulk Hogans. The people that are wrestling are real, quote-unquote, real people. They're not cartoon characters.
Yeah.
So I kind of like that a lot better. That's why I like WCW better than WWE, when it was all going on, the people in the WWE were these cartoon characters, and the people in the WCW or the NWA or the AWA or WCCW, they were all characters, but they were not cartoon characters. And we're seeing that change. One of the things that was revealed when Endeavor took over was that they when McMahon was running it, you could not say the word wrestler. They are sports entertainers, they're not wrestlers. But when Endeavor took over, they started using the word wrestler, and you hear the word wrestler all the time. So that makes me happy, because to me it's always going to be wrestling. I grew up watching wrestling, not sports entertainment. I watched WWE or WWF or whichever one you want it to be, but it never was as good as WCW or NWA wrestling, because to me it was all about the wrestling, not the character. So that's my opinion, not necessarily that of the management. Oh, wait a minute, I am the management. Yes, it's all about the management. I don't know, it's just kind of fun to think about that, and it's fun to think about all the things that, I think of my dad all the time when I think of wrestling, because that's what we did. That's the only thing that we bonded on. He was into cars. I didn't really care about the cars. I cared about wrestling, and I only cared about that because of him. And so I think it'd be really interesting to hear what he has to say about me being in it. He would maybe love the fact that I was in it because I was in it, or he may have hated it because I was a bad guy, or he may have loved it because I was a bad guy. My dad liked all the good guys. My dad's philosophy was, you know which matches are fake. The undercards are just exhibitions, but the championship matches, they're all real. That's what he would tell me. I don't know if he believed that. I would think he did, because he was in the generation didn't really know. But it's funny, because that's the stuff I always remember, is that's what he told me. So here's to my dad.
There you go.
So when I die, if he's there, I'm sure he's going to come up to me and say, "What were you thinking? Why didn't you do this, or why didn't you do that, or how could you do this?" I think it's funny. I think it's as much as he was into it. I would love to hear him talk about it, and knowing that I was part of that now. And so I don't know. I guess we're gonna have to wait till that day comes when we come.
That's right.
And he's going to say, "What were you thinking? You took that belt shot right to the head." I saw that video. I was rolling because I was thinking, I made them guys carry me to the back, and I laid it on thick. I wasn't walking at all. They were dragging me along. I thought, man, maybe I oversold that a little bit too much, because I would have had to be dead to be pulled out the way they were pulling me. So it was cool. I'll show you the clip. I'll probably cut that clip out next week, because when I saw that, I was having a blast with it. So cut out the biggest part of the promo, because it doesn't really matter. The important thing is I was knocked out with my own belt. So that was funny. And I looked at that video and I thought, oh, I did a good job. I haven't fallen for a long time. And I've fallen and I can't get up.
There you go.
Anyway, that's good news, though. I'm glad to know that you're on board.
Yeah, I'm on board now.
I remember how much crap I used to get from all these people about watching wrestling. And it's like, you don't understand it, Oh, you probably think it's real, huh? Well, I just think it's fun. you know. It's fun. It's storytelling. It's storytelling.
It's storytelling.
That's the thing. I'm a storyteller, and that's all about, you know, my shows that I wrote have an element of wrestling in them. All of these shows I've written, well, 2 of the 3 shows that I've written so far, the third one will have an element of wrestling in it somehow, but the first one, my character is trying to track down his old bandmates, and we're told to go to this one building to catch Cindy because we don't know where she is. We're trying to track her down. So we go to track her down, and it's inside this building, this community center, and we had to buy tickets to get in it. So we had front row tickets, and we didn't know what we were going to see, and we're like, what is this, you know? And she comes out for one of the matches, and she's one of the wrestlers. And I get up and I try to help her in this match that she has. And I help her. First, I distract her because I don't know why she's there, and you know, it's just funny. And the second one, the second show, I'm a former pro wrestler, and nobody knows that I'm under a mask. So I'm going to make an appearance, and somehow one of my hen houses is going to be there too. I forget why they're going to be there, but they're going to be there, and they're going to find out that I'm in wrestling somehow. But I'm also a musician, so in both shows my name is Mike, and in both shows I'm in music. So it's funny. Oh, I guess we could go on to another topic now. Can get rid of this. Oh, how about Gabe Kaplan? So Gabe Kaplan is still around. I thought he was dead, but he isn't. But the funniest part is, do you know what he's doing?
No.
This is something that I found really interesting because I'm like, why is he in the news? Well, he's in the news because he's a pro poker player.
Oh, okay.
Welcome back, Cotter. Gabe Kaplan, from actor to pro poker player. Who would have guessed? And is everybody... Horshack died. I don't know about the other guy. I think Horshack's the only one I think that died so far. Gabe Kaplan has had many diverse careers over the decades, ranging from stand-up comedian to sitcom star, film actor, disc jockey. And he's gone from stage to poker tables, and quite successfully. Born in New York City in 1945. Gabe Kaplan was a star of the popular 70s show Welcome Back, Kotter. His experience as a student is his experience as a student in an underachieving class in the early 60s was the basis for his show. Surprisingly, though, entertainment was not his first passion. And I remember he had that cheesy mustache and curly hair and stuff. And he had that hot wife. As a kid, he had dreams of being a Major League Baseball player. Baseball was very big in Brooklyn, and I lived a block away from Ebbets Field and knew it like the back of my hand. I loved everything baseball, watching it, taking it, and especially playing it. Talking it, I should say, not taking it. I was playing at a huge dirt lot behind Ebbets Field. It was used for Dodger parking. But when the team was out of town, it was transformed to local kids into 2 or 3 baseball fields. We called it Little Ebbets. Unfortunately, his baseball aspirations were dashed because he was unable to make the roster of a minor league team and decided to go in another direction. The immediate alternative was working as a bellman at Lakewood, New Jersey hotel, where touring comedians sometimes performed. I don't think I've ever seen him do stand-up. Says, turns out, comedy was a hit, and he began touring the country with an act based on his childhood experiences in Brooklyn. After appearing on The Tonight Show 5 times from 1973 to 1974, he recorded an album, Holes and Mellow Rolls, about his high school days and other topics. It says here his big breakthrough came with Welcome Back, Kotter, premise partially based on his comedy act. He played Gabe Kotter. He returns as a teacher in a dysfunctional high school where he had been a student. And a catchphrase from the show was "Up your nose with a rubber hose." It became so popular that it spawned another LP, "Up Your Nose." Plus, it became the title of a board game during the series, and after it ended in 1978, he participated in Battle of the Network Stars, defeating Wild Wild West actor Robert Conrad. Says the actor takes a new hobby. During his acting career, Gabe became involved in financial markets and poker. And my second big interest, besides baseball, was gambling. I was a good card player, and there were plenty of poker games going on, mostly with guys who were slightly older than me. I was skilled at watching bowlers compete and figuring out who would come out on top. Bowlers? Okay. This was a popular form of gambling at the time, and in New York it was called action bowling, because basically it was people bowling for money, and other people watching and betting as well. In 1978, he made his first appearance at the World Series of Poker, and just 2 years later, he was considered amongst the poker playing elite. His reputation only grew from there, and in 2004, he finished third in the World Poker Tour, earning $250,000. We're in the wrong business.
We're in the wrong business.
He continued his winning streak, and as of 2017, Kaplan's total tournament winnings were $1.9 million. He went from there and in 2021 returned to host high-stakes poker, but that success was notwithstanding. Gabe Kaplan always will be known as Welcome Back Kotter and Stand-Up Routines. So there we go. So that's a side I never would have thought. You know, he seemed too unserious to do that kind of work, but hey, you know.
My son-in-law has been at the World Series of Poker.
I forgot about that. Yeah.
For years, since he's become an adult.
That's great.
And yeah.
How's he doing it? I mean, is he doing okay?
He quit going because he's got a 2-year-old and a 6-year-old. And he can't put the time in to practice. He can't put the time in at the casinos. He can't put the time in online that he needs to do to stay good.
Right. Yeah.
But he was doing okay locally. He was cleaning up at some local casinos around him.
Didn't he actually go to the big one, the big tournament or whatever?
Yes.
And so he was doing. Yeah. Oh man. Blackjack is okay. I can do that because I know the strategies for blackjack, and I know that my average is a 40% win in blackjack. Now that's good, and if you have a 40% win, you can make big money. But you make the big money because if you do 40%, that's considered a success. But you have to be able to do the progressive betting. In other words, let's say it's I don't think they have any $10 tables, but let's say it's $10. So you bet $10. If you lose, you bet $10. If you win, you bet $15. Then if you win, you bet $20. If you win, you up it by whatever percentage. And then if you lose, you go back down to $10. And if people don't play correct, and I see a lot of people that don't play correctly, you can't win money by betting the same thing every time, because you're going to lose 20. You're only going to win 40% of the time if you're good. So you got to make it count. So you make your increases when you're winning. And some people, like, if you lose, they double their bet so they can get their money back, and then they keep doubling their bet. That's not how you do it. That's not how you win. Because if you keep doubling your bet and you keep losing, you're going to lose a lot of money. So the key is...
You lose a lot of money.
Yeah, you use progressive betting, and you do it a little at a time, and just keep... What you want to do is you start out betting with your money, but the key is you start betting with their money, and that's how you make your money. is betting with. Best I've ever done was, I've gone to Vegas twice and I've made money, well, twice to gamble, and I actually made money that paid my whole trip off of blackjack.
So, Michael, you'll be glad to know that I actually participated in a World Series of Poker.
Did you?
Too. Well, it was a buddy system.
Okay.
And he needed someone to start off.
Okay.
So I played a couple hands. It didn't do real well, but I played a couple hands, and then we tag teamed. He came in and played the rest. But I actually sat at a table and played.
I have only played blackjack, Spanish 21. I played... There was another game I played, too, where you had to guess whether the card coming was higher or lower, or something like that. I did play that, but majority of the time, it's blackjack, or some version of blackjack. Like, some of the versions of blackjack are fun. I played in Vegas. It's called Blackjack Switch. That was a fun game. So the problem is, Blackjack Switch, you got to play 2 hands at a time. And I don't usually mind playing 2 hands at a time, but you also can lose 2 hands at a time. But where you actually make your money is that they give you both hands face up, and you can take your second card and switch between your 2 hands.
Okay.
I love that game. I did really well. I paid for my room, my flight, and everything on that game. Because I couldn't find blackjack. Like, I don't like... There's certain things. If I play by my rules, and you can't play by my rules in all casinos, I usually end up winning. My rules are, you don't play in the morning or afternoon. You play at night only, when the cards are really well shuffled. You don't play without watching first to see how the other players play. Because if you have people in there that are playing that don't know how to play, if you get everybody that knows how to play, we can usually turn the table our way. But if you have somebody that splits tens, that does just bad things, bad moves, they'll throw all the cards off, and it'll make you lose. So I make sure that everyone knows how to play right. Then I look to see how many chips does everybody have. They have stacks of chips, or do they have little bits of chips? Because if they have stacks of chips, chances are they're winning. That means that the cards are going our way. And let's see, what's the other rule I have? Those are the main rules. If I scout the things out and I pay attention, I almost always win. If I break any of my rules, I may not. And so that's why I try my best to stick to my guns on the way I play, because I can really make a difference. I've walked out with $1,200 from playing without, and that's at the lowest table. I remember one of my biggest bets was like $800 on a hand because it was progressive. I kept building it up, and if I lost that $800, that was their money anyway. So it was really kind of cool because I lost that money and I took it like a man. Till I went out to the car, then I cried a little bit, but then I said I made money, but I could have made more money. But every once in a while I get triggered, I get scared, I pull my bet back. But most of the time, as long as I play by my rules, I'm usually okay with everything. So lately I haven't played real blackjack. I only play on my computer game now because I just haven't gone to casinos for a while. But last time I went to the casino, I didn't play by my rules and I lost money. And then I keep thinking, all right, I should have done my rules because then I know I'm probably going to have a better chance at winning. So, you know, it's one of those things that you can't complain because you win knowing you have a good chance of not winning. But you know, like I said, if you play, you want to take the least amount of chances to lose. So In-N-Out Burger, you've ever been to one of them?
No, I have not.
Mostly on the West Coast. I don't think there's any on the
right.
East Coast. They're going to change the pricing structure in California. You're now going to get a hamburger and fries for over, it's like $10 now, $10, $12. It says it's going to be, a meal at In-N-Out is $10.45 for a double cheeseburger, a double, $8.65 for a cheeseburger, and $8.15 for a hamburger. That's insane. Thank you, Mr. Biden.
That's a lot of money.
Thank you, Mr. Biden.
Well, that's actually Mr. Newsom, the governor.
Okay. I just think it's just, but you know,
because they've raised the minimum wage so high that businesses have to pass that on to the consumer.
And that's what I kept explaining to people. Oh, look, we got to raise the minimum wage. I said, no. All you're going to do is raise all the prices, and we're back where we were. And people don't seem to get that. They don't seem to understand that it's got to be paid somehow.
Businesses, if there's competition, businesses will raise the prices on their own.
Yeah.
The minimum wage on their own.
Yeah. But that just was insane when I saw that. I said, geez, that's... But I mean, it's all fast food. It's like I don't go to... No wonder I'm rich because I don't go to fast food.
Right.
I'm not really rich, but I'll but I mean, I can't imagine like what it would be if I was working a day job and I had to go out to eat lunch every day again, because I remember back when we were in college, I could buy a whole pizza for $2.50.
Yeah.
Now you can't even get a slice for that. Now it's crazy. Jeez. That's just, oh man, I think about that stuff. But let's see what else we got here. Okay, so this one person, I guess she's a socialite, Rebecca Grossman. Ever hear of her?
No.
All right, well, she apparently helps different organizations, fundraising and stuff like that, but she's a bit of a snob. She's getting sentenced to 15 years to life for a Westlake Village crash that killed 2 boys. And she's all upset because she's going to go to jail, and she doesn't seem to understand. Even though you did do some things that were good, you killed 2 boys because you were racing through and hit these kids. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, I got to remember if this is the one, she not only hit the kids, but she ditched the car and tried to pretend she did.
Yes, I don't know who she was, but I've heard the story.
Yeah, I just think that you get what you get. I mean, if she had fessed up to what she did, she may not have gotten hit that hard. But
what did she get?
It says 34 years to life. That's what they requested. Says here, in the emotional-packed hearing, Grossman Byrne Foundation co-founder Rebecca Grossman was sentenced Monday to 15 years to life in prison for running down 2 young boys who were crossing the Westlake Village Street with her family.
Do you realize she could get out in 7.5 years?
Yeah, but it's the thing is she doesn't have any remorse, and that's the thing that got her that much time. Well,
the parole board has all those transcripts.
It's just
so she's got to go before a parole board.
It says here, Grossman, who turned 61 on Friday, was convicted February 23rd of 2 counts each: second-degree murder and vehicular manslaughter with gross negligence, and 1 count of hit-and-run driving. September 29th, 2020, deaths of Mark and Jacob Isklander, aged 11 and 8. Judge ordered her to be taken into custody minutes after the jury verdict, rejecting a request by one of her trial attorneys to allow her to remain free on $2 million bond. Tears flowed throughout the whole long sentencing hearing that stretched into Monday afternoon. Grossman could be seen crying as people spoke during the hearing. When it was her turn to speak, Grossman turned toward the courtroom audience containing the boy's family and again fought through tears, saying she wanted family to know how sorry she is. And the problem was that she, if I'm not mistaken, this is the one that she insisted she was unable to reach out to the family, the boy's family, as the case was pending, on her advice from the attorneys, who told her it would amount to tampering with the witnesses. But if I'm not mistaken, I want to find the stuff where the boy's mother said during the hearing that she disputes Grossman's contention that she was advised by her attorneys not to speak with the victim's parents. She said she saw Grossman outside the hospital emergency room that night. She looked me in the eye. You looked me in the eye. You knew they were dying. But I think it was something that she was drinking. I'm trying to decide if that's the one or not. It says here, prosecutors were said the boys were crossing the street in a marked walk when they were struck by Grossman's vehicle. And it said that it says here that the breeze from the crash matched Grossman's vehicle, and there was not a shed of evidence that Grossman's then boyfriend struck the children first with his black Mercedes-Benz just ahead of Grossman's vehicle. They were speeding through this area. So apparently, she not only did she strike him, I believe she fled.
Dragged him?
Yeah. Trying to find. From the very beginning, the facts have been distorted and misrepresented, turning the tragic accident into murder and me into a cold-blooded killer, she said. The voices demanding vengeance and retribution are reacting to a tragic loss of Mark and Jacob. I believe she was going like twice the speed limit, too, if I'm not mistaken. It just was a shame. It just, I don't know. She just... Oh, here it is. There it is. I knew it was... Okay. So her trial indicated that she accelerated from 73 miles per hour to speeds on 81 miles per hour in a 45 mile per hour zone in just 2 seconds before the collision and struck the boys while they were traveling at 73 miles per hour. That's pretty fast in a little 45 mile an hour zone. So, and she didn't return to the scene or offer any aid to the boys after the crash. So, yeah.
She deserves it.
She deserves it. Yeah. She'll get out early, and she's 61. It's not like,
She'll get out in 7.5 years.
Yeah.
They'll release her because of her age.
Yeah. Yeah. It's kind of weird to think about that. But, yeah, it just, I don't know. The world, I mean, I don't know what the correct thing is, but, hey, Bill Cosby's out. He did some nasty things, too, but I don't know. I think of things like that, and I think, how could you live with yourself knowing that you're guilty of that stuff? I've done some pretty bad things in my life, but none that affected people like that. But maybe I haven't done that bad of things, but I don't know. Maybe I have. I don't know. We've all done things that we aren't necessarily proud of. There we go. I couldn't get that thing to post. Why wouldn't it post? Okay, there we go. But, yeah, I can't imagine. Like, some people can live with themselves knowing that they did that kind of stuff.
It's hard. I don't know how you do it. I don't know how you live with yourself after you've killed 2 boys.
Yeah.
And such negligence.
Yeah. And just denying that it was you, It wasn't me. Going that fast. I mean, you can't justify going that fast. I mean, I've been guilty of speeding and stuff like that because of my car is out of control. I'm not, but my car is. But, yeah, if anything like that happened to me, I don't know. I don't know what I would do. But I would think that I would try not to hide it. She probably would have gotten a little better deal if she hadn't lied about it. I don't know. Okay. What time we at here? Oh, we're already at 9:45. Guess we spent a lot of time on the rock and roll thing.
Yeah, that's okay.
It's all right. I thought it was...
So, Mike, I have a question for you as you're looking for the next topic.
Yeah.
Where do you stand on pardoning 175,000 inmates for misdemeanor charges on marijuana possession?
Oh, definitely. They should have never been in the jail in the first place. I mean, I think that anyone that went... It's sad because those people... A lot of those people, if it had happened today, wouldn't have gone to jail. You know, I think that even though I was never really one that partook in that stuff, I mean, other than I do take a pill every night to sleep, but I never took it as a younger person. I never took it before, 2018, 2017 maybe. I just think that I've always said it's a victimless crime. You know, those people should not have ever gone to jail in the first place. So,
well, two things. One is when I was a counselor in prison, there were two blocks, E and F block, and it was all young black men with misdemeanor charges on marijuana possession. 2 whole blocks of a prison.
It's unreal. It's
ridiculous.
You know, they just took people off the street that, okay, they did something wrong according to the law at that time, but they didn't harm anyone. I mean, they didn't run over a kid. They didn't, you know, it's not like alcohol where you're impaired and you're going to do something that, you know, if someone had, I don't know if there probably is times that marijuana caused people to die if you were smoking it.
Well, you're an impaired driver, Mike. When I used to smoke, I was an impaired driver.
Yeah.
That's the only bad thing, is that you usually don't harm anybody else,
right,
except when you drive.
Yeah. So in the case of that...
But we're talking about people that just get pulled over and they find a few grams, right, or you know, and they put them in jail.
Yeah, to me that's a waste of tax dollars. It's a waste of everybody's money, and it just, I never understood the whole deal.
So I'm sitting in a car with a buddy of mine, 2 buddies, and we're lighting up and getting high, and all of a sudden the lights go off behind us. And the police officer comes up, one on each side, and the guy on the passenger side, when we rolled down the window, he said, because the smoke billowed out.
Sure.
It was in November. And he said, I want to see your stash. So I reached down and I got the $20 bag. Back in the day, that was an ounce. And I handed it to him. And he said, thank you very much. You can leave now.
Really?
Really. And you know what the big thing was? I was sweating bullets. I had £1 in the back trunk. I had just picked up £1.
How much was that?
That was $400.
Wow. That's crazy.
I was sweating bullets because that would have put me in jail for a long time.
Yeah, because then you would be a distributor.
I would be a distributor.
That's crazy. How long ago was that?
I was in my 20s before I met you.
Jeez. See, you met me and you went straight.
I went straight. You scared me straight,
yeah,
Mike.
Right. You thought I was a cop because, what do you mean you don't do any... Oh, here comes the sun. So I got.
Here comes the sun.
That's funny. That's insane. I never, because I was always into music, it was always around me. It was always, everybody in the band did something. And, like, I was the only guy that was straight in the band. And it's still kind of that way anyway, because they get high whenever we take a break. I don't know. I just found it was never really. It's not a dangerous thing, They demonize it, but it's most of the people that I know anyway don't abuse it and don't get in trouble with it. So I don't know.
See, I abused it, Mike, when I did medical marijuana about 3 years ago. Yeah. I went from once a day to getting high from the moment I got up to the moment I went to bed.
I don't get that.
I'm an abuser.
Yeah.
And I can't use it. I can't use medical marijuana because I abuse it.
Yeah. I don't. The problem is, I think the biggest problem was that when I was a kid, I saw Reefer Madness, and I believed it because I didn't know any different. And I have never been one to want to be not in control of myself.
Right.
Even to this day, I have to be in control of myself. And that's why a lot of my relationships also never work, because I don't mind my partner taking control, but there's a point where the line's drawn. There's certain things I just won't do. And I won't, since I was 30, I learned that I need to look at myself from a positive respect, and I won't allow people to denigrate me, because that was one of the biggest things that I had determined in my 30s, was that I was letting myself be thought of as less than a person. And my whole life was like that up until that point. And I promised myself that wouldn't happen anymore. So a big part of that is the control. I want to be in control. I'm going to be held responsible for what I do. Therefore, I want to know what I'm doing. And I want to be in control of what I'm doing, so that if anything happens, I can't say I wasn't in control. I just feel that it's important that I don't have that excuse in my life. If I make a mistake, it was my fault, and I am not going to hide that. So I do make mistakes, and I do admit my mistakes, but a lot of things that's a big reason why I would never get high, that high. I mean, like I said, I only use it to go to sleep, so I don't use it my daily thing. And other than that,
see, I would start with the sleep, and I'd just, within a month, I would just be a total abuser.
Wow, that's and that's the thing. I have access to Percocet. I take a couple Percocet a day for pain. I could use that. I mean, I didn't know it, but one of the girlfriends I had told me that people chop them up and snort them.
Yeah.
I could have that every day if I wanted it. I don't have any. I don't want to feel high. I want to feel life. I want to be. I want to know when I do something. I want to feel it, whether it be good or bad. And
see, I want to be high and watch Cheech and Chong's Up in Smoke.
See, and now I never at all. I understand it's supposed to be funny, but the idea of it doesn't jive with me.
You don't get it straight.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense straight.
Yeah. And there's a lot of comedy out there.
It's not Up in Cheech and Chong stuff is not meant to be watched by straight people.
Yeah, and I never really thought they were all that funny. I thought it was okay. It was ha-ha, but not hilarious. But I've seen people that think it's the funniest thing in the world. But it's
well, see, I think it's the funniest thing in the world. So I can't get high. I can't take medical marijuana. I can't do it.
Well, at least
see, I thought it would be an answer to my chronic pain, but I can't do it.
Yeah, and
because I will abuse it.
I took it for chronic pain. I didn't feel it was really didn't do anything.
Well, I live by the philosophy, once a pothead, always a pothead, so I can't do it. Yeah. You can do it, but I can't do it.
I can do it just for sleep, and that's all I want to do it for. You know, the other thing is, it comes right down to the... It's funny, I've said this before, and people don't seem to understand it, and probably will never understand it because they didn't come where I come from. But I came from very humble beginnings, and I am a cheap bastard, and I do not waste money other than on my car, but really I don't. Even for, like, I don't splurge a whole lot on anything. I buy the things I need. I did go on a spending spree when I started making money. I thought, oh, this is cool, I can actually buy this. And I'd be real careful what I was buying. And then I would buy and to the point where I have excess. And now I look at the stuff and I say, why did I buy all this stuff? And now when I look at things, like, my biggest fear is living in a van for 3 years. I don't want to do that. So I'm real careful what I spend my money on. And so for me to spend money on pot, I'm like, I don't really need it that much. And like, even spending just, I don't really splurge a lot. I do buy things, but I have ideas for what I'm using it for. And it's not just to have. It's to, like, to make things work better. Like this stupid computer and trying to make this stupid stupid camera work. Which I'm going to get it working.
Well, Mike, you know, there's other things that go along with it. One is poor decision making. I was getting my pot shipped in from Oregon through the U.S. mail, through FedEx.
Really? Oh.
Yeah, because FedEx doesn't use dogs.
Oh, interesting.
So, you know, and that's a federal crime over state lines.
Well, you're talking about, when you're talking about here, my brother, who is dead now, was doing that with meth, getting it shipped in from California, and they caught him. You know, they apparently shipped it to the wrong place, and the person that got it figured out what it was, called the police. The police looked at it, said, okay, we know who this is for then. They boxed it back up, sat it at his front door. When he went to get the stuff, he brought it in, and he says he threw it away because he didn't want it anymore. The cops busted in like a SWAT team and had everybody lay on the floor, and he went through a lot of crappy stuff because he had this meth stuff going, and he lost a big piece of his life because of the meth, and it ended up, you know, he ended up dying at a young age anyway because of brain cancer and stuff. And I don't know, I attribute it to the meth to a certain part, so I don't know, but that was just really crushing to me to see that thing happen to someone I knew. And, it really did mess him up, and it messed up his credibility as a business owner. It messed him up as the police were at his place and took all his guns and everything. So, you know, I just I have no time for that kind of stuff. I don't want to be a bad influence on society. I just want to live my life and not run into that kind of stuff. When people put that kind of stuff in front of you, it's one thing if it's pot, but that stuff's really that's dangerous stuff. But yeah, having it shipped in, that's crazy. But I didn't know that they didn't use dogs in FedEx.
They don't.
I remember when FedEx first started, when they combined companies, and it was I forget who the companies were, but they. I remember when they first started doing stuff, and our company started dealing with them. I didn't trust them for anything, because every time I shipped something from Harrisburg to Boston with UPS, it was 2 days. With FedEx, you might get it there in a week. And I'm like, I can't have my customers waiting a week for this stuff. So maybe if I did meth, or not meth, but if I had done pot,
maybe it would have gotten there on time.
And if it didn't, who cares, you know? As long as we get it, we're happy. So that's funny. Oh, well, guess what?
Well, it's that time, Mike.
Yeah. Well, that's cool. I got all kinds of stories, but next week they won't be good, probably. Anyway, hey, how you doing, Christina? I see Christine Harding has joined us. So, yeah, it's all. I guess we're done for the night. We got to do that camera. I got to figure that camera thing out, and if I figure I need to get you online, and we'll get this thing working. Once I get it working, I'll get you online and get you working it.
Okay.
And
you got it.
It'll make a difference. What's that?
I said I'm game.
Okay.
You just let me know.
Yeah, I'll do that in the next. I think I'll be down here in the next couple days. I got a thing tomorrow. I'll probably try to work on a Friday. So, all right. Well, it's time to go. I will talk to you next week and do whatever it is that we do here. And someday I'll actually know.
All right, man. Take care. Yeah, bye.
Hello.
I think you're still recording. That's yeah. But it has stopped. She just texted me and said she can't. Her earphones or earbuds or whatever, hearing aids.
Okay.
And she wants you to check that one.